Harley's declines are certainly worse than the overall U.S. industry, but motorcycle sales in general are down this year as well. So, but there's,
Harley Davidson is on the verge of extinction, and the 7 bikes I'm about to expose have completely vanished because literally nobody's buying them anymore. And what makes it worse? These bikes were once the hottest thing on the streets, but Harley, in its classic stubborn style, refused to evolve. Now all that's left is regret. Stick around till the end, because the last bike on this list, you won't believe Harley even had the guts to release it. Number 7. Harley Davidson Sportster 883 Iron, the retired gateway drug. The motorcycle that once screamed, "Welcome to Harley culture, newbie." But let's be honest, what used to be a rite of passage has now become an ancient relic choking on its outdated engine fumes. First launched in 2009, this thing was the entry-level bike, a stepping stone for young rebels and midlife crisis dads alike. And what did it offer? An air-cooled Evolution engine that somehow skipped every modern upgrade known to mankind. No ABS, no traction control, no ride modes, just the raw, unfiltered experience of riding like it's still 1993. The world moved on, but the 883 Iron just didn't. Its fate was sealed when Euro 5 emissions standards came crashing through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. North America saw the last of these in late 2022. Sales? Once over 14,000 units in 2015. By 2022, it tanked below 2,000. Even the dealers were like, yeah, let's just quietly push these out the door. And if you thought the 883 Iron was impractical, wait till you meet this next disaster. Number 6. Harley Davidson 48. Cool looks, zero logic. Alright, let's talk about the Harley 48. The bike that basically said, you don't need to ride far, you just need to look good on Instagram. Launched in 2010 with its tiny peanut tank and slammed, low-slung design, this thing was made to look like a vintage street thug. But as soon as you tried taking it more than 80 miles without a gas station, it betrayed you. Let me spell it out. This bike comes with a 2.1-gallon tank. That's a range of 70 to 90 miles. So, unless your idea of adventure is a quick loop around the block, you're stuck babysitting gas pumps like it's your full-time job. And upgrades? Forget it. Harley refused to give it any real tech. Still the same old 1,202 cubic centimeter Evolution engine. No traction control, nothing new in suspension, just vibes and vintage filters. Phased out in European markets by 2023 and US production, quietly ghosted in early 2024. They didn't even give it a proper farewell. They just swept it under the rug like it never existed. But if the 48 was a style over substance fail, this next one tried to be everything and ended up alienating everyone. Number 5. Harley Davidson Fat Bob 114, too wild for Harley purists. Now here's a bike that walked into the Harley lineup, flipped over the dinner table and yelled, "Let's make some noise." The Fat Bob 114 came in blazing with the Milwaukee 8 engine, fat tires, upside-down forks, and a headlight that looks like it came from a sci-fi apocalypse movie. And what did Harley's loyal fan base do? They collectively gagged. Too modern, they said. Too weird. It was like handing your grandpa a TikTok account, just didn't vibe. At launch, it was the edgy choice. It screamed bold. But bold doesn't always mean smart. Between 2018 and 2020, Harley threw a lot of marketing muscle behind it. But by 2023, this bike was barely a footnote in brochures. Even the dealers stopped pretending to care. Sales went from 10,300 units globally in 2019 to just 2,200 in 2023. That's not a dip, that's a nosedive. And if you had the nerve to buy one new, congratulations, you lost 40% of its value in 2 years. Kelley Blue Book literally said, yikes. And you thought the Fat Bob was a swing and a miss? Get ready for a bike that didn't just flop, it launched off a cliff wearing rollerblades. Number 4. Harley Davidson Livewire Original, the $30,000 electric flop. Here it is, the crown jewel of Harley's overconfidence, the original Livewire. Picture this, Harley rolls into the electric game in 2019 shouting, "We're the future," and then smacks a price tag of $29,799 on the thing, for an untested electric bike, with Harley branding, to a fan base that still complains about fuel injection. Dealers couldn't even give these things away. Some outright refused to stock them. Zero test ride requests, high insurance premiums, and charging problems straight out of the gate. You can't make this up. They sold just 480 units in 2020. That's not even enough to fill a stadium section. Harley panicked and spun it off into its own brand by 2021. Now it's sold as the Livewire 1 for a discounted $22,799. And guess what? It still couldn't crack 1,000 US sales in 2023. Also, let's not forget the recall in late 2020 because of software glitches and battery charging issues. That little hiccup turned early adopters into lifelong Harley skeptics. The whole thing was like launching a rocket that immediately flew backwards. But even that isn't the worst offender, because the next one tried to blend Harley heritage with adventure touring and came out looking like an identity crisis on two wheels. Number 3, Harley Davidson Pan America 1250, a misfit in ADV territory. All right, I'll give Harley some points for trying something new with the Pan America 1250. It's their first stab at an ADV bike, trying to play in the same sandbox as the BMW GS 1250 and Ducati Multistrada. And on paper, it should have worked. 150 horsepower, semi-active suspension, big screen, rugged design. But Harley's core buyers looked at it and said, "The hell is that?" In 2023, Pan America only sold 5,200 units globally. Meanwhile, BMW sold over 60,000 GS models. That's not a difference, that's an embarrassment. Part of the problem? Harley dealerships had zero idea how to sell an adventure bike. They're used to talking about chrome upgrades and saddlebag leather, not off-road modes and suspension travel. It's like asking a steakhouse to suddenly sell vegan tofu bowls. Even reviewers who loved the bike admitted it didn't know what it wanted to be. Some said it felt like a cruiser trying to cosplay as a dirt bike. And adventure riders, who know their stuff, just didn't take it seriously. Now, if you thought that was a misfire, wait till we talk about a model that was supposed to be Harley's new rider magnet, but ended up being a total ghost. And hey, if you're loving this breakdown of Harley's biggest flops, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because the next one's even more embarrassing. Number 2. Harley Davidson Street 500/750. Budget bikes nobody wanted. Oh boy, the Street 500 and 750. Introduced in 2014 with big dreams of capturing the millennial market. Urban commuters, budget-conscious beginners. Harley was like, let's go cheap and cheerful. But what they delivered was more like cheap and soulless. Priced at around $6,999 for the 500 and $7,499 for the 750. It looked great on paper. But the quality? Yikes. Brake failures, clunky shifts, and an engine that sounded like it was powered by regret. Riders complained that it didn't feel like a Harley. And they were right. It was built in Kansas City and India, and failed to impress in both places. Global appeal? More like global disappointment. By 2021, Harley didn't even bother announcing its death. They just quietly pulled the plug. And just when you think we've hit rock bottom, oh no, there's still one more to go. Number 1. Harley Davidson Softail Standard, the Vanishing Ghost model. This one? It's the bike even Harley forgot they made. The Softail Standard launched in 2020 as a no-frills cruiser, a blank canvas for custom builds. But here's the thing, it had so little to offer, people didn't even want to customize it. No infotainment, basic instrumentation, zero personality. It's like Harley looked at its lineup and said, let's make toast. Not flavored toast, just plain, dry, emotionless toast. Sales? Less than 1,000 units in 2022. And that was mostly to rental fleets who just needed something to fill a parking lot. No social media spotlight, no showcase, no farewell tour. Harley basically put it on mute. It quietly phased out in early 2024. Overshadowed by bikes like the Lowrider S and Fatboy, which at least have some soul. The Softail Standard just existed. Then it didn't. Let's not sugarcoat it. Harley's not just tweaking its lineup, it's in full survival mode. They're axing low-performing models left and right, trying to double down on touring, trike, and CVO bikes, the expensive stuff that boomers with boat money still buy. The problem? That crowd is shrinking, and Harley's stabs at modernization, Livewire, Pan America, Street Series, either confused loyalists or failed to convert new blood. They're stuck between trying to be the brand of the past and the brand of the future. and failing at both. Sales among 18 to 34-year-olds dropped by 25% from 2018 to 2023. That's not just a decline, that's a massive cultural gap. Gen Z and millennials don't dream of owning Harleys anymore. They dream of stuff that actually works, feels modern, and doesn't cost them their left kidney to maintain. And while some of these bikes disappeared with a whisper, their absence is loud. Each one tells the same story: Harley's losing grip on the culture. And unless they pull off a miracle, the next bike to vanish might not be a model. It might be the brand itself. Harley's marketing team didn't even pretend to care. It was barely on their website, almost invisible on social media. No one pushed it. No one promoted it. And eventually, in early 2024, it just vanished. Quietly phased out like a background actor in a movie nobody watched. And while some of these bikes disappeared with a whisper, their absence is loud. Each one tells the same story: Harley's losing grip on the culture. And unless they pull off a miracle, the next bike to vanish might not be a model. It might be the brand itself.